Market capitalism is the best path to prosperity, but from the looks of some outrageous government spending, the only prosperous ones capitalizing are those who are getting federal money to investigate cow burps. Seriously, I'm serious. Cow burps, and worse. Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn has released his guide to the most wasteful government spending of 2010, and he is in Washington tonight as well. Senator Coburn, welcome. Good to have you back.
Good to be with you.
Let's talk a little bit about waste, which is, I know, the topic of your Waste Book 2010. It is here. It is full of 100 of what you see as the most egregious examples of government waste in 2010. I'm going to cherry pick a few, but please talk to me more generally about the ones you like. A National Science Foundation grant of $216,000 to study the use of ambiguous statements by politicians and whether they gain or lose support by taking those positions in an election campaign. Don't you guys know that already?
Well, everybody knows that already. That's the whole point. You know, as we went through this, there's 100,000 of these out there. Mm-hmm. We just picked 100 so people can see, you know, and that doesn't mean there's not good things the government does, but people can see how stupid we are and how out of control the federal government is. And these are just some examples of it.
In total, if you took all of these projects, these 100, and the others, you say there are thousands, how much could we save if, as you say, if Americans saw all these things, they go, we don't need to do that. We do not need a neon sign museum in Las Vegas.
Well, I think if the American people could really see where we spend our money, what they would say in today's environment is probably $100 billion that we're spending is not necessary. They wouldn't, if they were up here controlling things, I think you'd have a great majority agree that we could get rid of $100 billion. Well, $100 billion is what the House is going to try to start on next year. So just you know, a nickel and a dime at a time, saving it, throwing your change in your sock drawer every evening when you come home. You know, at the end of the year, it adds up to a lot of money. And so we're not trying to make fun of the government. What we're trying to do is point out the government is out of control. The government lacks common sense, and you can see that we obviously don't have a priority to do the oversight to eliminate these kind of projects.
Dr. Coburn, whose problem is this? Is this the problem of presidents going back for decades, or is it the problem of individual men and women who are in Congress, in the House and Senate?
I'd say it's not it's Congress as a whole. We have failed to do our job, which is oversight. When we pass a bill, we don't put metrics on it so you can measure effectiveness. We don't have the oversight hearings to say, okay, this agency, how are you spending your money, and then go through it and find out. Now, we have a plan coming forward in the next year where we'll be able to look at every government program, how many of them are duplicative, what they're supposed to do. But I've been working for 6 years to try to get that from the Government Accountability Office. So I put that on the last debt limit extension, and we're going to start seeing that.
How many of these items, Senator Coburn, as I go through here and look at gold-plated potties in the woods in Denali National Park and bridges to nowhere, not just in Alaska, but one in New Hampshire, how many of these are the result of what have come to be known as earmarks? All of them?
No, not many. Probably less than a third. But what they are is people spending somebody else's money, and when you go to do that, you say, oh, well, it's not, you know, doesn't matter, got to spend the money. So I think less than a third are related to earmarks. Most are related to incompetency and the lack of common sense by the people that are granting a lot of this grant money. And again, the way to solve that is if the agencies know we're going to oversight every year significant areas of their agency, this kind of stuff isn't going to happen. And whether it's oversight in their travel budget or the building of new museums in a time when most people can't even pay their mortgage, you know, in other words, setting priorities and truly attacking what the real problems are. We have great people working up here and in the government. What we don't have is judgment and common sense and the ability to put ourselves out on the line to say we have to make hard choices and priorities.
Senator Coburn, let me turn to an item that is a large item, and that is the $6 billion plus bill for health care and other benefits to 9/11 first responders. You have opposed that bill. Why specifically, and what do you expect the outcome of it will be?
Well, first of all, let's categorize it. The $6 billion is the score they got because the CBO doesn't score it in the out years. It's actually an $11 billion bill. And what it does, the intent of the bill is great. Nobody disagrees with it. This bill has not ever been through a committee in the Senate, and it has significant problems with it that in their effort to address this problem, that we have to, and I fully agree, we have an obligation to meet it. We're going to spend 4 times as much money as we should to accomplish what we need to do. And so the fact that you don't have any opportunity to amend it, you don't have any I'm on the committee of jurisdiction. We had no markup on the bill, didn't get a question, the findings behind the bill, or the common sense associated with it. This is no way to legislate. And we've offered them an ability to have this pass the Senate and pass the House in February and have this problem solved and have it go through a committee and good agreements. You know, Peter King's going to be head of Homeland Security over there, and solve this problem in a way that will get a large bipartisan group of us supporting it and do it. But doing it in light of the fact that we don't have an extra $11 billion right now. Our country is belly up, and in 3 years, everybody's going to see that if Congress doesn't respond in the next 18 months to 2 years to fix what's wrong with this country in terms of its finances. And so we talk about bond vigilantes. They're going to be coming after the USA, and we need to stop that. And so we got to pass bills that fix problems but don't spend more money than we need to.
Senator Coburn, thank you very much, and appreciate your work and pointing out these rather egregious examples of government excess spending. Thank you very much.
Glad to be with you. Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Happy New Year and holidays to you.
Thank you.
And our thanks to Senators Tom Coburn and Mark Warner, two very